Well, good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, Tom. History Delights here.
History Delights, that's right. It's the Tom and Kevin show on the road here. It's July 2nd. And hey, what's significant about the day of July 2nd?
Well, July 2nd is the second day of Gettysburg and the continuation of the bombardment at Vicksburg.
Yep, the big long siege at Vicksburg. So, after July 4th, the first week there, the nation had a lot to celebrate because General Meade had defeated Lee at Gettysburg and Grant had finally taken Vicksburg. So what a momentous weekend this was.
And then Vicksburg never celebrated the 4th of July because that was the defeat of Vicksburg.
Okay, right now we are in western Iowa, almost a little bit southwestern Iowa, coming up on the Missouri River, but more significantly the Little Sioux River. And this was a site that we're going to go visit, a monument where the Indian Sioux chief Inkpaduta used to camp. And it's significant because Inkpaduta was, he instigated the Spirit Lake Massacre, which 32 settlers were massacred back in 1857 up in northern Iowa. So the Little Sioux River, I see a historical marker right here. The Little Sioux River was his river, or his road up and down western Iowa here. So we're looking forward to it. After this, we're going to be visiting the Grenville Dodge House in Council Bluffs. Grenville Dodge was the commander
right onto 310th Street.
Of the Iowa
the next stop is
4th
on your right.
Volunteer Infantry in the Civil War. He then served under Sherman. Sherman actually gave him a leave of absence so he could come back to Council Bluffs and take over as the lead engineer for the Union Pacific Railroad. So a busy day ahead of us, right, Kevin?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll talk to you later. Well, Kevin and I ended up having a really good trip. It was a long day and a long trip, but we got to see lots of beautiful scenery along the way. Of course, our original destination was the Dodge House in Council Bluffs, but for some reason things kept popping up along the way and we just had to stop, and what should have been a 5 or 6 hour day, we ended up putting in about 12 hours or 13 hours. We got lots of footage. We're going to have lots of great videos coming up. And I just want to give you a brief overview of some of the videos that we'll be coming up with just as soon as I have some time to get them edited. Grenville Dodge was a man of many talents. He was born in 1831 in Massachusetts. He was surveying for the M&M Railroad in 1853, and that's what first brought him to Council Bluffs, Iowa. He was a man of many talents. He engaged in the mercantile business, organized a bank, surveyed the Missouri River Valley to the west for the Transcontinental Railroad, represented Iowa in the 40th U.S. Congress, and served with distinction in the Civil War. He first started out as a colonel, commanding the Iowa 4th Volunteer Infantry Regiment, but he ended up attaining the rank of Major General. He is most famously known for his work for the Union Pacific as they built the Transcontinental Railroad to the west. After visiting the Dodge House, we went and visited a stunning memorial to Colonel William Kinsman. Kinsman started out in the Iowa 4th as a lieutenant, serving under General Dodge, then Colonel Dodge, and he went on to become the commander of the Iowa 23rd Volunteer Infantry. Colonel Kinsman died as a result of his wounds after the Battle of Big Black River Bridge in 1863 down in Mississippi. This memorial is located in the Fairview Cemetery in Council Bluffs. Located in historic downtown Council Bluffs is a very unique jail. It was called a squirrel cage jail, and it was one of perhaps 18 that were built in the 1800s. Iowa has the only 3-tier squirrel cage jail. This was the Pottawatomie County Jail. It was built in 1885, and it served as the county jail until 1969. It housed a lot of notorious criminals over the years, and its unique design, it just makes it a must visit to see. Again, we'll be doing an in-depth video on the Squirrel Cage Jail. As you can see, there's a lot to see in the Pottawatomie County area and Council Bluffs area. Before we left town, Kevin and I made a couple more brief stops. One was at the Ruth Ann Dodge Memorial Fountain, and Ruth Ann was the wife of General Dodge. This sculpture and fountain was based off of a dream that she had. Well, our last and final stop before we left Council Bluffs was the Abraham Lincoln Monument, and this was in Council Bluffs on August 19th, 1859. From this point, Lincoln viewed the extensive panorama of the valley of the Missouri River, and in compliance with the law of Congress on November 17, 1863, he selected this city as the eastern terminus of the Union Pacific Railroad. And as we take a look over this vista, wow, it's just a gorgeous sight. One can only imagine what it looked like before the city was all built up around it. Well, after a full afternoon of exploring the Dodge House and the various different locations, historical sites there in Council Bluffs, we decided we better head on back north. But on our way, Kevin insisted we had to stop at Botana Bend Park. It's a Pottawatomie County park, and they have some buffalo and some elk. Both animals were native to the state of Iowa. Well, it had been a long day, and we were making our way home, but we got within about 90 miles of home, and hey, we had to stop and see this attraction. Although we've both been here before, we just had to show you. This is Albert the Bull. Albert the Bull is located in the city of Audubon, Iowa, and it's the heart of T-bone country, and it's famed for its livestock production, and Albert stands as a gigantic tribute to the nation's beef industry. Albert is 30 feet tall and weighs 45 tons. He is 33 feet long and has a horn span of 15 feet. It took 65 gallons of paint to cover Albert. Albert is about 9 times the normal size of a Hereford and is authentically painted right down to his toenails. Well, just when you thought it was over, we had one more stop. After being at Albert the Bull, we realized we had went by the Nathaniel Hamlin Park, and that's a place he and I have always wanted to stop at. So we kind of backtracked just a very short distance and across the road. And here we have a house. And this house was originally known as a county home. Many of Iowa's care facilities have roots in county homes that were originally known as poor farms. In 1880, Audubon County purchased 200 acres for private ownership to create a poor farm, and in the 1890, the poorhouse was built as a home for the county's indigent. The residents, who were able, helped with the farm's chores and raising of food. The farm was entirely self-sustaining. In the late 1960s, the home was closed and most of the land sold. The house stood empty until 1975, when ACHS acquired the buildings and 8 acres of land from the county with the purpose of creating a park and museum. Also on the grounds, you will see a blacksmith shop, old country school, lots of windmills, flowers, and yes, they have a small pen full of elk here too. Well, Kevin and I certainly hope you've enjoyed this road trip with us here on the 2nd of July, just 2 days away from Independence Day. And again, just to reiterate, we will be doing a lot more individual, more in-depth videos on all of the subjects we talked about today. So until next time, have a very delightful day.